Have you ever left the doctor's office feeling small, dismissed, or like maybe you were being dramatic? Well, you're not alone. And this episode is for you because this is called medical gaslighting. And it happens to women, especially in perimenopause and menopause. And I hear this story nearly every day. It's so sad. I hear it a million times. You know something's not right with your body. You feel terrible, but your doctor just dismisses you and your concerns and then tells you it's normal. Or even worse, you can get a smug laugh or something and told that HRT or hormone replacement therapy is dangerous, causes cancer. When you start to ask about menopause treatments, and that's not right. There's really something wrong. And so this episode was inspired by a reel that I posted that really hit a nerve. And there were clearly many women it resonated with who feel like they're being brushed off. In that reel, I'm going to kind of take a deeper dive. I talked about 7 powerful phrases that you can do to flip that script and finally get the care that you deserve. Sort of these phrases that help you make your doctor take you and your menopause symptoms seriously, or your concerns about menopause, even if you're asymptomatic. I'm going to break those 7 phrases down a little bit. So get a pen and paper, because I think you want to write some of these down and you can make your own version of them. You don't have to word by word. You're going to put your own voice and make it sound like you. But I think it's really important because too many of us are feeling gaslit. And it actually happened to me when I was 50. And this is 4 years ago. And I saw my general practitioner and I wanted to discuss hormone therapy because I was just starting to learn that there are some benefits here and there's some protective benefits and there's this window of opportunity. And I was quote unquote asymptomatic, the typical symptoms that I knew of at the time, which were basically probably about 5 of them in terms of losing your period, hot flashes and night sweats, maybe some mood swings, vaginal dryness. I didn't have those. But so when I asked her about it, she said, well, you don't have symptoms, so I don't see why you should be on it. Plus, estrogen will give you blood clots and the progestins will cause cancer, and you have breast cancer history with your mother. And it was just clearly a clear no. And by the way, she mentioned I am part of the European Menopause Society and I know what I'm talking about. So I was very suspicious. I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's not what I've been reading, but she had the authority. So I went somewhere else. But I wish I had these questions. I wish I was armed with these questions, but I wasn't. So I did just find another doctor, which is totally an option. But if you want to try to work with your doctor, then you can try these things. And it's really important that doctors understand that they're gaslighting some of these women. Not all doctors. There are some doctors who are really great. And when you dismiss symptoms or just the fact that you are interested, then you can delay diagnoses. So in my case, because I wasn't given hormone therapy, I eventually found a doctor, but I was given baby doses. I was being very low dosage. And in the end, I found out 3 years later, I have osteopenia. Well, to be fair, also, I was dealing with hip osteoarthritis, so no impact exercises. So that probably contributed to it. But I always wonder, gosh, if I had robust amounts of hormones, would I have been able to avoid this? And now I have to go and reverse all this. But there's another person I'm thinking of just off the top of my head, a friend of mine, and her mother and her sister died of a heart attack. Her mother has heart disease and her sister as well is not doing so well. And when I asked, and a cousin died as well, some heart. So she's clearly got some kind of cardiovascular disease risks in the family. And so when I asked about her sister, I said, well, has she had any checkups? How old is she or was she? And she was in her 50s. So she did not have, she said her cholesterol seemed to be okay, but I don't really know. She wasn't really checked up on that. Was she on hormone therapy? Of course not. So these are kind of questions that we need to dive a little deeper. And perhaps would it have saved her? I don't know. But these are why if you delay some of the diagnoses, if you delay some of the testing that could be done because you're dismissing a woman who's concerned, I don't think that's right. And then we lose trust. in the medical system. We lose trust in our doctors. Then that's no good. And then there's this emotional toll that we're not being believed. Can you imagine? Like, I don't know if you are listening to this, you probably felt gaslit and you left the doctor's office thinking, maybe I am being too emotional. Maybe it's because you're told this by an authority. Anyways, a lot of doctors also may tell you, oh, this is just aging. It's normal. This is suck it up. This is just part of menopause. Women all over the world for centuries have gone through this. I don't know, I'm not buying it. And then there's this stigma and this fear of HRT, like my doctor was sharing with me, my original GP. These are professionals, even ones who are being trained to the Menopause Society. And I just came back from the European Menopause and Andropause Society conference in Valencia, and I saw what was going on, and it doesn't make sense sometimes, because even though they're very pro HRT in this arena, in this conference, and they were showing how the benefits of hormone therapy, they were showing what happens when you lose your estrogen and all these osteoporosis and the cardiovascular disease risk, et cetera, and dementia. And then when there was a doctor actually out there, I don't know his name, but he's an American doctor, and he asked, oh no, it was not an American doctor, it was somebody else. But anyways, he was asking, well, I have a lot of women coming to me asking about hormone therapy when they are quote unquote asymptomatic, and what are the guidelines? They're not clear. And so there are no guidelines. The guidelines are you don't give HRT to a woman who's asymptomatic. But what's happening to her bones? What's happening to her heart? What's happening to all these processes? Are they checking? Because, if it's for prevention of osteoporosis because she has already been diagnosed with that, well, fine. But if you're getting a DEXA scan, which measures your bone density at 65, well, it's kind of late. And then then they're probably not going to be given hormone therapy, because there are a lot of doctors who still believe that, well, over the age of 60 or 10 years post-menopause, you can't take hormone therapy. So you're kind of out of luck when there was this window of opportunity. And that's why there's so much confusion. There's so many problems and all that. So anyways, let's go down to the phrases that you can use to help have your doctor listen to you, have your doctor speak, just become aware of your concerns and take you seriously. So phrase number 1, get your paper and pen if you want to write this down. This is disrupting my life. This is disrupting my daily life. And I need more than this is your new normal, or it'll pass eventually. Have you heard that? I bet you have. And this works because it's rejecting the normalization of your suffering, that this is just a normal thing. And so often women are just told to accept these symptoms as part of life, especially during perimenopause and menopause. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. You walk out of there going, okay, well, I guess I have to white knuckle my way through this. And so what this phrase does, it forces your provider, your doctor, to really consider the impact and the urgency. This is not going to be tolerable for me anymore. We're framing it from it's common to no, it's not tolerable. Maybe it's common, but for me, it's not going to work. And then hopefully this will open some doors to some solutions rather than just soothing you with it's okay. It's also a little bit firm, but say it in a calm way. So again, your tone is important here. So if, for example, you can say, I'm not sleeping, I can't concentrate at work, my relationship and my intimacy with my partner is falling apart, and I feel like a shell of myself. And that's not normal for me. Maybe it's common and normal for everybody else, but not for me. And so I think that's kind of firm and set in a nice tone, and I'll hopefully go okay, because really a lot of women in my community have had night sweats, anxiety, brain fog. So many things are ruining their careers, their relationships, their sense of identity, and they're just told to wait it out. And it's knowing that symptoms can last 5 to 10 years, sometimes more. I don't think so. Okay. So this phrase is like a line in the sand. There's just no more waiting anymore. So try it. Let me know how it goes. Now, phrase number 2, get the pen and paper out again. I've tracked my symptoms consistently, and there's a clear pattern that I want to review with you. All right. There's a pattern, right? And this is powerful because it changes that emotional complaint. Doctors may go, you're so emotional, to evidence-based observation. Okay, it's a little bit more scientific here. You got your own little experiment going on, and it tells your provider that I've done my homework. I can show you this list. You can show your symptoms. You can show that they're not just random or they're not exaggerated. You can show on a scale of 1 to 10. You can show intensity. You can show frequencies, for example, of hot flashes. And then this creates a real data driven conversation. And that's really important when your hormones are fluctuating, right? And it helps even the doctor, if they're open to it, great. They can help with the diagnoses and then hopefully some good treatment decisions. And so you can use a paper and pen. You can log this stuff, or you can use some apps. I like to track my sleep, hot flashes, cycle changes, mood, energy levels. These are kind of some of the common things, but you can use photos, for example, if you see skin changes or hair loss. Fitness trackers can also count. So I've got a menopause tracker, like all your symptoms. It's like a little spreadsheet. If you want access to that, just send me a message on social media or my email, is in the show notes. And if you want to get a little techie, I use things like Aura rings, which track your temperature. It tracks your sleep and your recovery, things like that. You can also, if you're concerned about blood sugar levels and weight, you can get your CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor. You can slap it on your arm, use that for 2 weeks, see how your body's reacting to certain foods. If you've got an Apple Watch or Soul Tech actually is a great device as well. I have this under my bed. It tracks my sleep as well. There's a Clue app. So if you're in the perimenopause phase and sometimes your periods come, sometimes they go, sometimes they're heavier, sometimes they're lighter. Clue is another great app that you can tune into. And I also like the app by Dr. Louise Newson called Balance. And that not only helps you track symptoms, but it has a lot of education there from somebody I personally follow. And I think she's fabulous. So as an example, let's say you go to your doctor's office and you say, I've been tracking these symptoms, whatever they are, for 3 months. And I've noticed a clear decrease in my, say, hair thickness. So you could say, I used to wrap my ponytail elastic 2 times and now it's 4. And you can even take a photo of that ponytail. Can we look at this together to see if it's menopause related, or maybe it's my thyroid or something else, right? It doesn't always have to be menopausal symptoms, but whatever. These phrases are not only for menopause, but for any symptom that you're taking. So 'cause women very often, no matter what stage of life, are very often dismissed. So this helps you because you're tracking and you're validating your experience, and you can see some patterns that maybe you wouldn't notice otherwise. It's again, not only helping your doctor, but you're probably helping you figure things out too, because sometimes you may think after tracking, you go, oh, well, wine is triggering my hot flash, or this stressful person in my life is causing me to have my skin flare up, or whatever it is. You can see patterns, or it's obviously with your menopause related as well. You can see maybe your estrogen and progesterone are going up and down, and you can spot some of these things. I've got a great menopause, like a symptom tracker as well, if you're interested in that. So if you have if your breast tenderness, nipple tenderness, that probably means you have a little bit excess estrogen. And then this can help your practitioner understand, well, you probably don't need extra estrogen. You probably need some more progesterone because you don't want to make those breasts even more tender. So now let's move on to phrase number 3. Get your pens out. If this were happening to you and it felt unacceptable long term, what would you do next? That's a really powerful statement. It's a little bit of a role reversal so that the doctor can have a bit of empathy and honesty. I think it's gentle. I think it's effective. It humanizes you, and it also humanizes the provider, right? And it reminds that doctor that you're not a case, you're a real person, and you just kind of want some personal, transparent advice. It almost kind of like removes that wall of authority. I think it breaks it down a little bit, and it can just offset some responses that you get this let's wait and see what happens. You don't want to wait. You don't feel good today, and it's unacceptable long term. Okay. So you can use it when you're feeling like you're hitting a wall or getting some vague answers. It just opens the door to more creative and better solutions. So an example, if you were going through this yourself, would you be okay waiting it out, or would you want treatment right now? Really flip it around. How would you feel if this was happening to you? And sometimes clinicians can respond better when they're just reminded that they're human too, right? And they also are vulnerable to the same suffering, especially if they've gone through some kind of traumatic event. It doesn't have to be menopause. It can be a man who's had a hard time in life, or maybe some surgery and there was some pain, and it helps. It helps. So hopefully it humanizes everybody. Now, phrase number 4. Ready for this one? Can you please ensure that today's discussion and my symptoms are clearly recorded in my chart? Now, the way you say this, I think the tone really matters, because it can sound a little aggressive, but if you say it in a gentle way, it's really powerful. And it's more than just about making the doctor listen to you. It's about creating a permanent record, a permanent file. And medical charts are like legal documents. And when your symptoms and concerns are just noted on paper and pen or on the computer, whatever it is, they can't be brushed off. And especially if you come in with words and it's not written down, then it's really harder to make your statement or go back. So it sends a signal to the provider that you're serious and paying attention to everything that's going on. You're not just here to get a quick fix. And it may encourage them to just take a little bit more time and care when they're writing their notes. Maybe they're going to, you never know. I mean, these are just kind of guesses. And then it protects you if you need to like really escalate things and request a second opinion or advocate for yourself for more testing or other treatment maybe down the road. So just too many women, again, are just told it's aging, wait it out. Nothing's really formally documented, right? So if you come back months later and there's no record of what you said or how bad your symptoms were, then, then it's going to make continuity and getting the care that you need really, really hard. So you can say another version of this. You can say, last time I mentioned insomnia and hot flashes, but nothing was in the notes. So I looked like I was starting from scratch, and that's not okay. Right? Or you can say, I want this documented because if we don't find a solution, I may need to refer back to this conversation for a second opinion. You can make it light. Okay. It doesn't have to be aggressive. And then after your appointment, you can ask for a copy of your visit summary or even check your digital chart. Because some of us get digital charts in our computers, or you have these health platforms, patient portals, and then you can see if the information is there. And if it's not, then you can ask, can you please update this? Or can you please correct this? Because you may see some inconsistency. You're like, oh, well, I didn't quite say that. Or yeah, that's what these records are for. So hopefully you can get access to that and then make any corrections if you need. Okay, phrase number 5. I am looking for a care partner who understands this is real, not imagined, and that it's treatable. Okay, it's really powerful, sets a clear expectation. You want a partner. You don't want paternalism. And what this does is really communicates that you're proactive and you're educated. You've done your homework. It's really important. It asserts that your experience is valid and it's medical and it's not emotional and it's not in your head. This will hopefully set the tone for any of the future conversations, and it also creates some boundaries. This is great when you're, say, starting with a new practitioner, a new doctor, and you're starting this relationship, or just reestablishing maybe some expectations with a doctor who's been kind of dismissive. So another example of this scenario is if the doctor says, oh, this is all just part of being 50. Welcome to the new normal. No, you can respond, well, maybe for some it is, but for me, it's really disruptive. And I just need somebody who treats it seriously. Okay. That's really powerful. Again, you're reminding them that I'm not here for a pep talk. I'm here for a plan. So that's really important. Hopefully that will help. And then phrase number 6, I'm not looking for reassurance. I'm looking for real solutions so that I can feel better now. Too often, again, are hearing, you're fine, just wait it out. And we need solutions. And really these silly, dismissive reassurance is just pretty much one of the topics complaints that I hear from women in our community. It's really sad whenever I hear these things. Just again, you're emotional. It's going to be fine and it's normal. I just don't like that. So this phrase really stops that cycle of you're fine when you're clearly not. Okay. And it's just refocusing the conversation on action, not appeasement. And then it hopefully sends a signal to your provider that you're looking for accountability and partnership here. And so when a doctor says it's probably nothing or that's common, you can use this phrase just to redirect that conversation. So another example is, I'm not looking to be told it's normal. I'm looking for ways to actually improve it. Hooray, please. You got some tips. What can I do? And then if you are exploring hormone therapy, you can combine it with a question like, can we explore HRT or functional testing? It doesn't have to be hormone therapy. It can be anything, honestly. It's so important that your condition is taken seriously. Now, the last phrase, number 7, get the pen and paper out. I'm aware that some doctors aren't comfortable prescribing hormone therapy. Are you one of them? Because if you are, that's fine. I can always ask for a referral. Okay. It's bold. I don't think it needs to be aggressive. It doesn't, depends again on your tone. And it sets that, like, I'm okay. I understand clearly that doctors are not trained in hormone therapy. They're not trained in menopause. It's okay. You understand they're not comfortable with it, and that's fine. Because sometimes doctors feel like they need to know everything and give you some kind of solution. So they'll throw out some antidepressants or sleep meds that they're used to prescribing, but you're there for probably better solutions. So it kind of cuts the BS, right? You're getting right to the point and you're not asking for permission. You're asking for transparency. So yeah, I think it really puts the doctor in a spot, but I think in a respectful way. And you're being assertive, but respectful. And then you're not wasting anybody's time, especially if somebody is not open to HRT, either opposed to it or they don't know enough about it. Let's not waste our time. Let's just go look for referrals. And it matters, right? It really, really matters because too many doctors, unfortunately, are still, I don't know, reading bad science or not no science at all. They're just going on outdated HRT guidelines. And unfortunately, that's the case. So this question really, or this phrase and this question, it really saves you from having to try to convince someone who just isn't open-minded, right? So we don't want those sleep meds. We don't want the antidepressants and the drugs unless you really need it. Okay. It shouldn't be the first line of care, in my opinion, unless a really great doctor can spot this out and just obviously it's clear. But if you believe it's related to hormones, then I don't think it should be your first line of care. It should be, let's look at your hormones. Let's try hormone therapy. Let's see how you go. But obviously with somebody who's really qualified to do that. And so, if the doctor says, no, you're right, I'm not really comfortable with this, you just say, okay, can you please refer me to someone who's got experience in menopause and hormone therapy? Done. It's okay. It's okay to shop for doctors. It's like, I don't know, you'd shop for the best car for you or a lawyer who's going to help you through some problems, right? You want somebody who actually knows what they're doing, not experiment on you. So those are the top 7 phrases. I should go through them again. Let me go through them again just to remind you in case you didn't get your pen and paper out and you want to do it. So number 1, this is disrupting my daily life and I need more than this is your new normal or it'll pass eventually. And then sentence number 2, I've tracked my symptoms consistently and there's a clear pattern I want to review with you. And number 3, where did it go? If this were happening to you and it felt unacceptable long term, what would you do next? Okay. Number 4, please ensure that today's discussion and my symptoms are clearly recorded in my chart. Number 5, I'm looking for a care provider who understands this is real, not imagined, and that it's treatable. Number 6, I'm not looking for reassurance. I'm looking for real solutions so I can feel better right now. And the last one, number 7, is I'm aware that some doctors aren't comfortable prescribing hormone therapy. Are you one of them? Should I ask for a referral? Done. Okay. Easy peasy. But tone really matters. I mean, I don't have to do my tone. I'm just kind of reading from a list. Just doesn't have to be aggressive. It just makes you assertive, but polite. So you can practice some of these sentences in advance. You could put it in your phone and walk around or test it on a friend. Yeah, really, it's important. And if you feel comfortable to bring a friend or your partner to your appointment, just to be there, stand up for you, cheer you on, or help you feel reassured, then bring that person to you, to your appointment. There's no restrictions usually on these things. And then if you get one of those answers that you don't like, and before you say your phrase or your question, take a breath. Okay. Pause. take a breath and then respond. Okay. So, anyways, if you don't feel right with that doctor, you can get a second opinion. You can get a third opinion. You could shop for your doctor. And if you need help, I've got a blog article called How to Find a Qualified Menopause Doctor. I've got lists in not every state, but in many states in the US. I've got Canada and I have Australia. We have different countries in Europe. I'm building this list based on women from my community who are really happy with their doctors. So I have that list. I also have, well, you can go to the Menopause Society website, for example, or European Menopause Society, and you can see who is trained or who's licensed or who has their certification from that society. Plenty of other ways. You can even ask your pharmacist, who's the best lab, and call that compounding pharmacy and ask them who's making good formulas out there. This is another way. There's so many ways to do it, but in the blog article, I break it all down. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up, but I hope this has been helpful. You know your body better than anyone else, right? Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. You will find the perfect person to work with you. And sometimes it's not a doctor. Sometimes these are nurse practitioners. Sometimes they're just in the functional medicine space, but they're really, really well educated in menopause. And that's really good. I think that's better than any doctor who doesn't know how to treat a woman in menopause when somebody else out there who's had plenty of experience does. And for example, there's Karen Martell, my menopause bestie. She's not a doctor, but she has doctors on her team. And then she works with them because she and her team have been working with women in menopause for, I think, about a decade now. And yeah, she knows them really well. And I think she's perfect person, for example, to go to. But I think only if you're in North America, because they only prescribe in those two countries. But we got the list of anything else. So let me know if you've used any of these phrases. You can DM me or reply to me on social media. Tell me what happened. There's so many ways to get support. And if you like to be a part of an amazing community, join us in the Biohacking Menopause membership group. This is a private women's only community where we meet live. We have live Q&As every week, sometimes with me, sometimes with guest experts. Everyone on the podcast I invite to the live Q&A. And so it's really nice because some of these researchers and doctors I invite to the podcast costs hundreds of dollars for their time. And here we have them for an hour to ourselves. And we're still a very small community. So it's quite nice to get a lot of personal attention there. And I'll have a link to the Biohacking Menopause membership group in the show notes. And we also have fun giveaways and ways to motivate you to live a better life so that you can manage your menopause symptoms even better. So if you found this helpful, please share it with a friend who needs support. And then don't forget to leave a review if you liked it. It really, really helps us grow and get the message of menopause out to more and more women out there. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.